Want to go ahead and hit record? There you go.
Okay. Hello, Marcus. I am very happy to be able to interview a gifted director who has marked my memory with the excellent films that The Collector, The Collection, and The Neighbor. Very great. I have watched
Holy
it
cow.
several times. I like them. Very great, excellent movies.
Boris, I cannot thank you enough for saying The Neighbor. That was man, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh man, you got me in the feels there, Boris. Thank you.
Thank you. You are also known to be a great writer for the saga Faced and So. What can you tell us about your long collaboration with Patrick Melton?
You know, life can be a lonely journey, but it ain't lonely when you get to do it with a friend that you respect. I have known Patrick Melton since he was an irascible student in Iowa, and I have seen this friend become a father, and as a father, become the head of a beautiful family. And with that, it's been an absolute once in a gazillion encounter where this person loves art and this person loves family. And so I learn from him all the time. And I hope to, I mean, it inspires me to honor the words he takes time away from that amazing full life to give, to offer. So I really, that's it to me. It's man, it's just not, we've done everything together. Our first chance, our heartaches, our heartbreaks, our could have beens, our how did that happen have been together. And I love that there's a sounding board. It keeps our feet on the ground. It keeps our nose to the grindstone, and it keeps us imagining. And that results in moments like this where, bless you. You know, Patrick Melton wrote The Neighbor in 4 days.
Wow.
We were dumped. We had been dumped by our agents.
Yeah.
And and this is before Feast came out, and he had a child on the way.
Yeah.
And he was going to have to, make a tough call about hanging it up, not being able to write. And so he's like, I'm going to take one crack at this. And so he wrote The Neighbor in over a 4th of July weekend. That was then in August. We heard there was a premiere for our first movie, Feast. At the premiere for Feast, I was asked to go in the back and pitch an alternate ending to The Neighbor, and the studio that made Feast then bought it at that party. Patrick made his goal in that he was given 6 weeks by his wife to find, a solvent means of providing to help for their family. And he was just a couple weeks late, but it worked out.
What can you tell us about the origin of Unhuman?
Unhuman was a project written by Paul Soter, and I was brought on relatively late in the process to help realize it in New Orleans. And as a part of that, some elements had changed in that we wanted to adjust the tone and adjust the message and still a theme. However, Paul gets 100% credit for delivering this amazing twist in there. And the twist was a bit in the back 40. We wanted that to be an anchor because of what it did to the characters, how it could enhance the theme, and just I hadn't seen that before, and I really loved it and wanted to protect that. So we then were able to take and give it a reason for being from our experience. And that meant Patrick is from Evanston, Illinois, hence Evanston Hill is our fictional high school, but also the setting of the seminal John Hughes classics, where we wanted to take certain stereotypes from those movies that are now under re-examination for some of their more appalling behavior and like lessons they were instilling, but then remind them how the movies that we were told were appalling, our Friday the 13th, etc., that I was in the basement watching, were actually instilling the lessons of don't be a jerk or you'll die. Don't do drugs or you'll die. Don't be a bully or you die. You might just die anyway, but just don't be an asshole and you might live, okay? Like defend somebody and you might make it. So that seemed to hold hands with the idea of let's tell an after-school special about bullying using the artillery, the arsenal of the horror movie, and yet remind each character of the heart that got us here. And that would be the Hughes-inspired heart of kids that were treated with respect in their vulnerabilities, that we all have them. I mean, every one of us, lucky enough to be an adult, has had the 4 years of absolute biological flux that happens in adolescence. And this was a chance to go back to that time machine, to have that time machine moment, to go back there, leave some hurt, bring back some hope.
Watching this movie, we think of a successful cross between a universe close to the work of Stephen King with a touch of The Breakfast Club. Can we say that Stephen King is one of your sources of inspiration, and that this book gave guided this creation of this film in your career?
Absolutely. Stephen King helped me find a love for reading and writing, and so did Roger Ebert. So Roger Ebert, I would read his reviews. They'd have these compendiums of his reviews, and so that they started to hold hands, where I would see a beautiful review for The Dead Zone. Then I'd check out The Dead Zone and learn more about Stephen King, while also reading his stories at night. And I loved that atmosphere. I love how there could be blue collar, identifiable people that I could recognize and be, that had jobs that I had to try to exist and provide for a meager existence. And then the horror element was cleverly used as an acceleration of life's challenges, and in that it just never stopped teaching. I love that. So I wanted to, from those, I hope that these movies can teach something, and they can provide not horror for the sake of trauma, but maybe show you something scary so it doesn't scare you so much anymore, and you can grow.
And my last question is two parts. Which advice would you give to someone who would like to become a writer and director? And the second part, which are your current projects, and can we hope to discover one day a sequel to the collection?
Okay, so in terms of advice, I actually just never stopped making things, little things, never stopped writing, never stopped pushing. Writing was something I could do as long as I could manage time and desire to do it. The instruments and I'll say this, the smartphone, I'm sure I'm not the first person to say it, like anybody with a smartphone now has more instruments than I ever did to start creating. And in fact, I used my smartphone on Unhuman to grab shots when the clock wasn't there, or I just needed a reference, and we ended up using a handful of those. And so if it plays there and it plays in the past, that is a wonderful tool. And then your next question was about the what's coming up next.
Yeah.
Maybe. What's coming up next is we've got a wonderful collaboration based on this union with Blumhouse and Disney Plus that I'm excited about. And then we'll say, hey, hopefully that will come to fruition. And then to answer your last question,
yes,
I actually have a phone call today about the state of affairs with the collected, and what I'm hoping that is that we're just keep marching towards hope for that. It's a bit of a Byzantine Gordian knot that needs to be untied, but you know what? There are motivated people doing that. It is going to take too long for anybody that wants to see it right now. I've been wanting to see it for 10 years, and I'm still in this fight, and I'm still bringing hope.
Thank you very much, Marcus. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Boris.